Hey guys, NCS fan 001 here, and it is finally, at long last, time for the 301 through 400 Platinum Trophies / overall trophy list video review. So, strap yourselves in, this is going to be a long one. Go ahead and get your popcorn and your juice boxes, turn off the TV unless you're watching this on your TV, and let's get right into Platinums number 301 through 400 and all the other trophies in between. So of course, Platinum Trophy number 300 was Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PS4, but I have not earned any more trophies in it since I obtained the Platinum. Now I am a little bit worried that the upcoming Casino update, which might be out by the time this video is uploaded, might have trophies in it. It's not particularly likely, but I would be a little bit worried about that because it is a big heist. It looks like it's going to be on the scale of the Doomsday Heist, and the Doomsday Heist did have trophies in it. So hopefully though, it doesn't. So, Borderlands 1, I had already gotten the Platinum Trophy. This was around 298 or so. I got it like over a week before. But, oh wait, this is one of those games where the DLCs are all on the same list. Wow, okay, I wasn't actually expecting that. So I had already finished the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned DLC because it's very, very easy. It looks like I was missing... Oh, I was already done with Mad Moxie's DLC? Wow, okay. What did I not have done? Oh, the only thing I didn't have done was killing Crawlmarax. Is that actually it? Killing Crawlmarax and reaching level 61 was all I had left. Let's just make sure if I'm correct on that. Yep, those were the only two trophies I had left. Reaching level 61 or even level 69, which is the maximum in this game, is very easy. You can grind it out in the Iridian Promontory, which is like the last area before you fight the final boss. Very easy to do, just a little bit time consuming, but not really a difficult thing to do, and definitely worthwhile because getting that overpowered and getting extra skills is a lot of fun. And then killing Crawlmarax the Invincible, this is actually not that hard on PS3 because there's a very helpful glitch you can use to like hide in a certain spot where he won't be able to get to you. It doesn't work very well on the PS4 version, but we'll talk more about the PS4 version of the game later. Or you can always just do it in a group as the developers intended, and if anyone in the group has a couple of really good weapons, which someone in the PS4 version did when I did this trophy, it can be quite easy. He's not one of the harder raid bosses out there. He's harder than some of them, but he's definitely not the hardest. So then now we're starting to get into some of the Platinum trophies that I got. Perfect Angle. This was a puzzle game. You basically had to rotate these like puzzle cube type objects and solve a whole bunch of puzzles. And I mean, it's been, a year and a half since I did some of these games because I definitely slowed down a little bit in the last year and a half after I graduated college, because all of this was around the time I graduated from college. So sort of after that, I've had to drop back a little bit in getting Platinum trophies and playing certain games because, I've got a job now. I'm busy with other stuff, so don't always have as much time to game, but this was a very easy Platinum trophy. It's just a simple puzzle game. Then we had Twin Robots, two different versions of it, the PS4 and the PS Vita version. Either that or it was I think that it was the PS4 and the PS Vita version because I remember playing it on Vita, but I think this also has a North American and a European version. I don't remember this game particularly well, but I know that it's not too terribly difficult. I want to say it's actually a Ratalaika game or an early Ratalaika game, but I could be wrong on that. A lot of the trophies are relatively easy, but the game is sort of designed in a way that it's meant to be played in co-op. I remember it having a lot of really buggy trophies and just not being a particularly fun game to play. Just because you have to finish all the levels. You have to finish, I think, all the levels with all the robots, or both the robots alive, which is a little bit tougher, and just being kind of a lot of buggy trophies and stuff. I don't really remember it too well, but I know it's not a particularly hard game or time-consuming. It's like it's a sub 5-hour Platinum for sure. I just remember not being a fan of this one. I know for a fact I didn't like it. I know for a fact I had some glitched trophies on at least one version, so that's that. Eventide Slavic Fable. This is an Artifex Mundi game, so this has your typical minigame trophies, a few collectibles, actually quite a few collectibles, two different types, because some of the Artifex Mundi games have two different types, some have one type, some might have like three different types. The hidden object puzzles in this one looked like they were pretty easy, 3 objects in 3 seconds, and no more than 5 mistakes instead of 3 or 4 like a lot of the other games do. So this looks like it was probably a very, very easy one. I mean, most of these games are pretty easy, so you shouldn't have to worry too much. Then you have a bunch of story-related trophies. Of course, you have to beat the game on Expert, and you have to beat a bonus chapter. So another typical easy Artifacts Monday game. It looks like this was one of the ones you could do in a single playthrough, which is always good. Jak 3, the PS3 version. The PS3 version of Jak 3, you can actually use the debug mode to do almost everything, and that's why all my trophies popped so close together. This took me around 2 hours to platinum by using the debug mode. I would highly recommend doing it that way because it makes life much easier because, I mean, Jak 3 isn't a particularly hard game. It's not as hard, like, it's not even the hardest one in that franchise. But you can use the debug mode to unlock a good chunk of the trophies. And then there's a few others that you just have to play in specific ways as well as unlock all the orbs and stuff. I know that the PS4 version does have a debug mode as well that works differently though, so it's not as good and it's kind of harder to use. From what I've heard. Now, that's what I've heard. I don't know 100% because I haven't played it yet. I don't even think I own it on PS3. I think I can rent it, though, from Gamefly, which is a good thing. I think they now allow you to rent all the PS4 Jak games. Life is Strange Before the Storm, the prequel to Life is Strange. Definitely not as good as the original Life is Strange, just because, I mean, it doesn't really have anything as unique to it without the time traveling type mechanic of Life is Strange. But, I mean, it's still cool to see the earlier history of Rachel and Chloe, and it's a decent enough game for what it is. It's a good enough game for what it is. I mean, this series is generally pretty well received. In order to get the platinum, all you have to do is complete the 3 episodes and find the 10 optional graffiti in each of the 3 episodes. So 30 total collectibles, pretty much, and that's really all you have to do. Not difficult at all if you were following a guide for the graffiti. You also get an additional gold trophy for completing all 3 episodes. This trophy is interesting. It was actually initially going to be unlocked by completing the Farewell DLC chapter, but that was DLC. So they actually messed that up at first in that they were going to make you own the DLC or the Deluxe edition to get the platinum. I mean, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. I mean, I'm sure that episode isn't bad or anything or long and it's not too expensive, but still, that would have been weird. It would have been the only game that's done that. Then I did another version of Energy Cycle. This was probably the EU version. This is, as always, a very quick and easy platinum trophy. You can use a debug mode to do the time attack and infinite play mode trophies all very, very easily using it. The only thing you have to do legitimately is solving the 28 regular puzzles in the game, which is a lot of gold and silver trophies. This is not hard at all. You can just follow a guide for it with no issue. Then we have Midnight Deluxe. This is probably the EU version of this, because I think this is actually around the time I first got my EU account and first started playing EU versions of games, so that's why I've got a few easy ones right off the bat. Midnight Deluxe, this is an easy Angry Birds type clone set in that 30 Fragments of Midnight or 36 Fragments of Midnight type universe. You have to get 3 stars on any one level, and you have to complete the first 40 levels out of like 70. Then you have a few miscellaneous trophies like pulling a lever. This one's like a level-specific one that's just slightly trickier. Die in 3 different ways, 4 different ways. Bump into one of his friends, which I think unlocks along with that other trophy. Nothing difficult here. It takes about an hour to do. No problem whatsoever. You don't even need a guide for it, for the most part. Slide. This is the fastest and easiest platinum trophy in existence at this point, aside from the Korean PS Vita version of Corpse Party Blood Drive, which I did between 200 and 300. Aside from that, this is the fastest and easiest platinum trophy in existence. At least if you're not counting like the debug mode. Well, even if you count debug modes, the only other game I think that would compete with all those would be the autosave Cloud Sync from Sound Shapes, if that was still available, which I don't think it is. So this game, all you have to do is solve a single medium puzzle to get every single trophy. That's all you have to do. They'll all pop from doing it. Such an easy platinum trophy, such a quick and easy platinum. I think it's still available, but it was only ever released in the EU store. It plays sort of like 1,000, what was that one? 1,000 top rated. I actually blanked on the name a little bit. Far Cry 3 Classic Edition. This was an awesome game. I loved being able to play through Far Cry 3 again because it's an awesome game. I mean, I love Far Cry 3. It's one of the best games in the franchise. And along with that, it's a relatively easy platinum because this version does not have any of the co-op trophies. It's all single player, which makes it much better and faster because you don't have to play the 6 co-op levels. I mean, I think you can actually still do the co-op levels as long as you boost it. You know, you have a team to do them. But otherwise, this is a relatively easy platinum. You'll get a bunch of story-related trophies all the way through here. Those are all story-related. And then you start getting to the miscellaneous trophies. So this one, for example, I think you have to jump into water from far up. These are for leveling up, spend money, buy attachments. You have to liberate all the outposts in the game, and you have to do one without triggering an alarm. This was actually initially missable on the PS3 version of the game, before they eventually patched in the ability to reset outposts. You have to find about half the radio towers, though you're better off finding all of them for the better weapons. You have to find half the relics, of which there are 120. You have to find all 20 letters and all 20 memory cards. I think this one's unmissable. You have to complete some of the side quests, but not very many. You don't have to do too big a chunk of them. The $1,500 playing poker, I think there's a really easy place you can do it, or you can sort of save scum your way through it. Predator, rare animal, nothing difficult there. Crafting upgrades, crafting syringes, collectible type trophy here, killing enemies in specific ways. It's a very typical Far Cry list. Nothing really difficult about it as long as you are maybe looking at a little bit of a guide for a few of the slightly tougher trophies, but I do remember this one. There are very specific places in the story that you want to do this one. I think it's in one of the cave levels that it's really easy to do, because if you don't do it there, it's going to be significantly harder. So I recommend checking out a guide for this one, but most of the trophies you can do without a whole lot of trouble. It's a fairly quick and easy platinum. Then we have one of the versions of Nubla. This is, of course, a quick and easy platinum trophy. It's sort of a side-scrolling walking simulator where you get the platinum by completing the game and finding all the collectibles. It takes less than an hour to do. Nothing difficult there. And there is now a Nubla Part 2 out, so that last trophy down here was not a lie. There is actually a second Nubla game out that's longer but still very easy. I haven't done it yet, though, because it's usually overpriced. Then I did the PS4 and PS Vita versions of North. This is a 100% game. I don't remember liking this one very much. I remember this one being not buggy, just not being a very good game. But at the very least, you can do it in about half an hour, because 10:50, 11:23. So it only takes about half an hour. So it's a pretty easy trophy list, but I don't remember being a fan of the game on either version of it. But at least it's quick and easy. The World of Nubla. This is basically a different trophy list for the exact same game, catering to us trophy hunters here. It is a very quick and easy platinum trophy. I mean, obviously it's a quick and easy platinum trophy because it's literally the exact same game, just with a different trophy list. And both these games stack with a North American and a European version, so you can get 4 Nubla platinums, though not for the price of one, because you're going to have to buy each version separately. Alright guys, I actually had to cut the video there because at the time this is being recorded, I actually broke away for a little while to finish off the Versus DLC for Resident Evil 5, which is great, although that would technically probably end up being in the 401 to 500 Platinum video. Anyways, back to this main list. Next game, Cabela's Big Game Hunter 2010. I did a couple Cabela's games in this time period. I don't remember this one very well, aside from the fact that it was relatively easy, like most Cabela's games are, but I do remember it having one particularly problematic trophy. You have to get all the gold medals in the game, plus its animal signs one can be a little bit missable because there's only a limited number of them in the game. But it's the gold medal one, because I do remember there being a few tough gold medals to get in the game. It's not that hard overall. I mean, it's a Cabela's game. There's only about one hard Cabela's game. Plus, there's one that's actually unobtainable. Sadly, I want to say it's Big Game Hunter 2012 that's unobtainable, which is really sad because otherwise I'd be able to do all the Cabela's games. And that would be a really weird flex for a trophy hunter to do all the Cabela's games because that's such an obscure franchise. But otherwise, most of the trophies are pretty easy. You can grind them out in specific levels if you don't do them over the course of the game. But for the most part, it's pretty easy. It's just that one trophy for getting all the gold medals that's pretty difficult. I mean, it's not pretty difficult. It's a little difficult. Like, this game, this is probably one of the harder Cabela's games, if I remember correctly. Like, 3.5, maybe even a 4 out of 10, at most a 4 out of 10. So it's slightly harder just because of some of the point requirements for the gold medals being a little bit tougher, but overall it's nothing too bad. Then I did the EU version of Orc Slayer. We all know what Orc Slayer is, us trophy hunters do. It's not a hard platinum. I'm gonna say that, it's not a hard platinum. All these miscellaneous trophies are easy, and then you have various story-related trophies. Pretty much all of these that I just scrolled through are story-related, or up through level 13 at least are story-related. So there's a lot of story-related trophies just for finishing the game, but this game is awful. It is one of the worst games on PS4. It does not play well, it is horribly glitchy, it looks terrible, it is not fun to play, but at least it is an easy platinum trophy. I want to say that this, and this can all be missed. Like, these are your 4 sort of missable trophies. Like, maybe this one's in level 1, this one's later in the game at the same time as this one, so you earn them at, like, the same time. And then this one, you kind of have to grind out toward the end of the game in the last few levels. I do remember, though, the EU version, the final boss, which I believe is this Necromancer, actually glitched on me. The fight is known to glitch, and what'll happen is the enemy just will not take damage, and you'll just have to keep on firing at him for like 30 minutes straight. Maybe not quite 30 minutes, but for like 20-30 minutes straight, and it's just the worst thing ever. And I mean, this is a quick and easy platinum, but it's just annoying when stuff like that happens, because it's not something you want to have to deal with. Then I got started on the Deponia franchise with the first Deponia game. This one is very easy. This is probably the easiest Deponia, along with the third one, I believe, is the other really easy one. Nothing really difficult as long as you follow a guide. So yeah, I mean, again, this is one where you just follow a guide and you'll get the platinum by the end of it. A lot of highly missable trophies, but not a whole lot of overall trophies in the game. So it's a fairly short trophy list, which is, I guess, kind of good and kind of bad. It has a fairly rare platinum on here, although I'd expect the platinum to be a lot higher on PSN profiles. Then Fallout Shelter. This is a Fallout game. And yeah, I mean, this is not really that hard of a platinum. I've played this game for actually over 200 hours on my iPhone. So take that as you wish. But it's not a hard platinum, it's just pretty heavily luck-based at times with a few trophies. Like, you have this trophy's easy, this one's a little luck-based, but it's easy, this one's easy, this one's easy, this one's easy. All of these are easy, that's easy. You get some grindy trophies like this one where you have to get 20 legendary weapons and 20 legendary outfits. I think these were both glitched back when I did them, to where you might have to get more, but I do remember these two being glitched, and they're a little bit randomized, a little bit luck-based as to whether or not you'll get legendary items. I want to say this is the most infamous trophy out of all of them, though, just because the raider attacks are so random. The easiest thing to do is to keep your vault at under 29 settlers, so like 28 or less, and then just leave your console on overnight with a Mr. Handy on each floor, and hopefully you'll keep getting raider attacks. What makes this game potentially easier and significantly less time-consuming, though, with a lot of these trophies, and this one's pretty easy, these are all easy, none of these are really that I mean, most of the trophies are pretty easy overall, just some of them are kind of grindy. This is another really grindy one, completing 100 quests. I want to say the theme ones are theoretically missable because, like, it's possible to have it glitch on you, and if it glitches on you, then you're screwed. I think that was a thing. I'm not, again, 100% sure on some of this because it's been a long time since I played this, like a year and a half since I played it. But I mean, overall, if none of the trophies glitch on you, this would be a fairly easy platinum. Plus, it's made easier because you can use a little exploit in the game where you change your system's internal clock, and that allows you to forward a few days at a time, so you can do legendary quests, you can get your 7-day login in a row rewards, stuff like that that can get you extra legendary items. I ended up having to go forward nearly a year to get everything, but I got everything, so that's all that matters. Resistance Burning Skies. This is actually a fairly fun game. I didn't mind playing this one at all. It's a very, very easy platinum. It is in the Resistance franchise. I want to do Resistance 3 I want to do because it's still doable, but Resistance 2 shut down pretty early in its time period, so can't do that one. You'll get all these trophies through this one by completing the game. It's only 6 sort of slightly longer levels. I mean, it's not a very long game. You can get the platinum in 6 to 10 hours, and it's still relatively fun overall. You have to upgrade various weapons. This is done by finding some collectibles throughout the game, but there's more than enough of the collectibles to do them. Kill an enemy with each weapon and use all the secondary fires, get lots of kills, which you may have to grind out a little bit, but it's still not difficult. I want to say this getting kills with the heat sacks is a little bit grindy because it's probably not something you're going to get through natural progression. I mean, that's the reason why it's a little bit rarer, because only certain enemies can be hit in that area. Same thing with this one. This one's a little bit grindy. You have to kill 18 of these bigger enemies, and there's only certain levels where they spawn. And then these two are story-related bosses. And then finally, you have to complete a single round of multiplayer. Now, you can do it with only one other player. It's supposed to be done with a total of 4 players, but it can be done with only 2. But you will need another partner to be able to do it, so you will need to boost that trophy because you won't be finding anyone online anymore, and there's no telling how long we have until these servers go down because it's an obscure Vita game. The EU PS4 version of Square Boy vs. Bullies. I've done this game before. Just hit an enemy with each attack, hit an enemy with each weapon, and complete the game. And that's basically all you have to do. So it's really nothing too complicated. I mean, it's not a good game. It's an old Rattle-Lake game. It's not one that I enjoyed, but it's at least easy. So there's that. Jak and Daxter 1. This game's pretty fun. This is a collectathon platformer. It's pretty fun. But it is fairly not even time consuming, but it's just a big collectathon, really. And if you're not a fan of collectathons, you're probably not going to be a big fan of this game. I want to say every trophy will be unlocked naturally while getting all the power cells in the game. I think that's how the game worked, but again, it's been a while since I've played it. But I think you get every single trophy by getting all the power cells in the game, which are the main collectible that gets you through to the end. You have to find all 101 power cells, you have to find all 112 scout flies, and you have to find all 2,000 precursor orbs. So again, it is a massive collectathon. There are a lot of collectibles to find. Thankfully, there are guides out there, so it's not too bad overall. We've got another Cabela's game, Cabela's North American Adventures. So once again, finishing off that Cabela's franchise. I've only got 2 Cabela's games left. One of them is Big Game Hunter 2012, which is unobtainable because it has an online trophy that you can't get. And the other one is Dangerous Hunts 2011, which is by far the hardest one from what I've read on the guides, though I'm not entirely sure if that's true. I need to check that a little bit more. You have to finish the career, which is sort of typical. Do it on the higher difficulty, which really doesn't make much of a difference. But you do have actually a multiplayer mode in this game, which is really, really weird. And this is actually by far the hardest multiplayer trophy in this game. You have to use 8 different perks against opponents, and there's only 10 different perks total, and it's completely random which ones you'll get. You're not hunting other players, by the way. You're competing against up to 3 other people for the highest score of hunting animals, but you can play it against bots, so it's not technically online. But if you wanted to do this game, I would suggest getting it done quickly and focusing on the multiplayer, because who knows, there's a chance this might go down to where it's unobtainable, so I'd say be a little bit careful about that. You have to obtain all of the parts and weapons in the game, and I think this is done by getting high rankings on the levels. Big game and just enemies total or animals total, stuff like this is pretty easy. And then you have a few online trophies. This is one of the games that has shooting galleries. Shooting galleries tend to be the hardest part of a Cabela's game, and this game is no exception to that. The shooting galleries are not particularly hard, but they do take a little bit of time, and they do take a little bit of practice and patience. They aren't as bad in this game as they are in some of the others, but it is a little bit annoying to have to deal with. Otherwise, most of the trophies are pretty easy. There's not a whole lot in the game, and I would say that there's nothing really much to worry about in this game, aside from the multiplayer and the shooting galleries, so otherwise everything else is pretty easy. Rhyme, this is another sort of platforming game. It's got a handful of collectibles that, for the most part, are pretty easy if you follow a guide. It's like a 5-chapter sort of story-related walking simulator with some platforming to it. It's a pretty easy platinum as long as you follow a guide. Just, again, follow a guide and you're pretty good to go. The Long Reach, I still say this is one of the stranger games I played. I still don't really understand what it was supposed to be. But I've now done the North American and European version. European version was done later in time. This is a very easy platinum trophy as long as you follow a guide. It can be done in about an hour. You get a bunch of trophies for completing the game. I think you get like all these trophies from completing the game, which is really nice. So a lot of easy trophies just for completing it. And then you have a few miscellaneous trophies. You have to grab a gun here, though I don't think it's actually required for story progression. You have to drink from every cooler, which is kind of a collectible, barely. There's only like 6 or 7 of them. And you have to read every email from every computer, which is a definite collectible. Those are both pretty highly missable. And I want to say that it's one of these trophies in here. Maybe it's this one, the Jingle Bells puzzle, that is another missable trophy that's like just an extra little puzzle that you can do at one point. Bravo Team, my first and currently only VR Platinum. This game was awesome. I absolutely loved playing this. I love having, or not having, but playing on VR. I don't own a VR. My neighbor, or former neighbor that is in the military, he let me borrow his for like a solid year while he was off and busy and didn't want to keep it with him, but he's got it back now, so I don't have my VR anymore. I'll probably get whatever the VR2 is with the PS5, especially if it doesn't have the 5 million cables that have to attach to it. So all of these trophies are earned by completing the game. You can do every trophy on the easiest difficulty. You have to get all 3 different endings, which will get you these 4 trophies, but you have to get 3 different endings in the game. So you have to replay the final chapter multiple times. You have to complete any chapter with an online partner, which is easy, but you will need a partner, so I'd suggest getting a boosting partner through like PSN Profiles. You'll get most of them with the AI partner. Completing the game without dying is actually not that hard because you can do it on easy, and I think there's like an exploit to where you can save the game and come back into it or something, but the nice thing is that you won't always die when you go down. Like, you can still be revived by your partner a few times, which is good. And if you're on easy, you shouldn't have too much trouble. Revive your partner a few times. This one's like guaranteed to happen, and then you just have other trophies. Like, some of these are a little bit finicky or take a little bit of time, but none of them are really difficult, so it's a very fun game. It was one of my personal favorites so far that I played on the VR, though I've liked every game I've played on VR so far. Dying Reborn, I think this is the European version. This game is a piece of garbage. It's not fun to play. It's not good. It's meant to be like an escape room type game, but it's not fun or interesting, and it's ugly to look at, and so on and so forth. You'll get all these trophies by just simply completing the game. You have to watch all the TVs, which that one may also be story related. It looks like it is because it's more common than that one. Same with the password puzzles. Those might actually be all unmissable trophies. But then you get some miscellaneous trophies, these silver ones. They're all very easy as long as you follow a guide, but there are some miscellaneous missable trophies, though there is a chapter select, so it's not that bad if you miss any of them. I want to say that these are all story-related trophies as well, so a lot of story-related trophies that are pretty much unmissable in this game. That one's definitely not story-related and unmissable. That one's probably one of the more difficult trophies in the game, but it's still not difficult if you follow a guide. The PS4 version of Heavy Rain, I have now done both versions of it. Heavy Rain is a solid game. It's not as good as Detroit, but it's still fun. The Platinum Trophy is relatively easy as long as you know what you're doing. You have pretty much a missable trophy in almost every chapter for doing certain objectives, sometimes more than one. None of them are difficult if you follow a guide. That's why they're all pretty much bronze for the majority of the game. And sometimes you will have to replay chapters to get them. I would highly suggest on the PS4 doing the Perfect Crime ending first as your first playthrough, and then go back and do all the other endings after that. That's what I would recommend on the PS4. That's what the guide on PSN Profiles recommends. You have to complete the game with all 4 characters alive, but that's very easy. Succeeding in all the trials is pretty easy. All the clues is a little bit tougher because there are a lot of clues to find in a few levels, but it's still not too difficult. This one will come while getting all the endings. This is the really problematic trophy, getting the perfect crime ending, because there's a lot of objectives to it, but it's still not terrible. And then see all the endings is pretty easy, just kind of time consuming because there's a lot of them. There's like 23. Tacoma, this was a game that was meant to be played in VR, but it's a very easy walking slash floating simulator. Just follow a guide and you won't have a problem getting the trophies, so just beat the game and do a bunch of miscellaneous tasks. Nothing too difficult there. Super Kids Racing, I remember this one. It only has 4 trophies. It has a North American and a European version. You just have to grind coins by replaying a specific racetrack. I don't remember which one, but it's easy, and it's a lot of gold trophies, and it takes less than an hour. I mean, it took me 15 minutes approximately, so it's not bad at all. Dead Rising 2 Off the Record. This is another Dead Rising game. I've now done both of the PS3 Dead Risings. This is the easier of the 2 PS3 Dead Risings. It's definitely easier because it has less online and less playthroughs required and stuff like that. It has the photo mechanic, which is all pretty easy because you can just look at a guide for what to do on all these, including the stickers. I want to say there's more than 75, but all these trophies are pretty easy. So yeah, there's literally like a fifth of the trophies have to do with taking pictures. The big thing in this game is you have to get medals in all of the challenges in sandbox mode. You have to do 30 single-player challenges, and you have to get a gold medal in all of them, and you in the sandbox mode, but those are not really a problem. The problem is you have to get all 30 gold medals on the co-op challenges. Now, they aren't really that hard, but you do need a co-op partner for it. I mean, it's a co-op partner, it's an online trophy, always more of a risk of server problems and stuff like that. But that's all these trophies here. I got through it in like a 2-day period of playing it with a partner. We didn't really have a whole lot of trouble with it, so yeah, it's really not that hard to do, like, at all. It is just a little bit time consuming, and it is an online trophy, so you have to be careful. This is going to be done in the story. I want to say that all of these trophies are going to be done by completing the story. You have the secret shortcut, so you have some miscellaneous trophies here, which most of these are pretty easy, honestly. And then you have your grind trophies. You'll get these first 2 most likely through natural progression, but these 2 are a little more time consuming. You might be able to get this one if you really go for it in the single player. This one you would not be able to get in the single player. 100,000 is a ton of zombies. However, you can do it in the sandbox mode, which means no time limit to worry about. So I highly recommend doing it that way. I mean, because that's the only way you can do it. A bunch of other miscellaneous trophies. The combo cards are a collectible type from rescuing survivors and progressing through the game. This trophy's kind of buggy. It's unknown exactly. Like, some people get it by doing it in the campaign co-op. Some people do it in the sandbox. It's a little bit randomized, but it's not too difficult. This is a pretty highly missable trophy because the game can only spawn 8 survivors at once. So if you have 7 survivors out in the world and 2 side missions that should be appearing, only one of them will appear if it only has 1 survivor. You have a lot of highly missable trophies in this game, just like with Dead Rising 2, because of the way the game's structured. This is another full playthrough spanning highly missable trophy, though this one's actually pretty easy because you can just go and keep drinking orange juice from the store in, I want to say, Palisades Mall. Another one that's fairly highly missable, and probably the most annoying trophy of all in the game, because you find this character at the very beginning of the game, like she's the first person you can rescue, and you have to keep her alive through the entire game, which is just as annoying as it sounds. But overall, none of the trophies are too hard. It's definitely easier than Dead Rising 2 with less online to focus on, so that's a good thing. No Man's Sky, I got the 100%. I had the Platinum back in 2016. I got the Platinum back in what looks like a 3-day period back when the game first came out. Okay, no, not quite a 3-day period because it says 8-9. So basically about like a week and a half long period. It was the Pathfinder update that I did in 2018. You have these first 2 trophies are very easy. You'll get these no problem. Visit another player's base, you're going to need another friend online, but that's not really difficult. It's these 2 that everyone gets bothered by because they're so absurdly time-consuming. They're 2 of my rarest trophies on PSN profiles. The good thing is, if you have a friend that is kind enough to let you come to their base at near the center of the galaxy, you can just warp from there and be done with it. And I got very lucky on my permadeath mode playthrough because these two trophies actually stack, so if you beat it on permadeath, you don't have to beat it again on survival. But if you beat it on permadeath, it only took me 2 starting worlds to get off the starting planet. Like, my first planet I got on, I didn't survive on. My second one I did, so I got very lucky with that and got done with it pretty quickly. Gorogoa, this is a kind of weird, funky puzzle game. I did not enjoy this one at all. This one really annoyed me because most of the trophies are very, very easy. This is the one trophy that's a problem, finishing it in under 30 minutes. I had to beat the game about 5 times to get this trophy because I just couldn't seem to get it in under 30 minutes. Would not recommend this one. It has multiple versions. I'm not going to play the other versions, quite simply. Old Man's Journey, I want to say this was a free PS Plus game at one point. It's basically complete the game and complete some miscellaneous objectives along the way. Most of the trophies are very, very easy, so this shouldn't be much of a problem as long as you follow a guide. Lots of golds. Detroit, this is a great game. I absolutely love this game. I even played through it on stream because it's so much fun to play. The Platinum Trophy is very, very easy. Just follow a guide for it. It's the easiest of the David Cage games, of the 4 of them. You will pretty much have to do 2 playthroughs, though, of the game, sort of, to make specific decisions throughout the game. Your first playthrough, you kind of want to go for, like, the best possible endings and do everything right. And then your second playthrough, you want to have Connor get killed at every possible location, as well as collect other magazines and stuff. But it's a very easy Platinum Trophy and a really fun game. Definitely, like I said, my favorite of the David Cage games. The Connor dying and returning and the everyone surviving are probably the 2 hardest trophies, though, so those are the ones to keep in mind. Far Cry 5, I got the Platinum Trophy. It was Platinum number 301. It was right after GTA 5. It's not the easiest Far Cry game, but it's definitely not the hardest. I mean, I'd say the hardest part of it is the fact that you have the multiplayer trophies in the game, though these are now easier to do because you can actually boost them with only 1 other player in private matches, which is great. That would have been nice to have. But then the game released its DLC. Hours of Darkness is very easy. You just have to complete the game, or you have to complete it 3 times, but it's very short. Survivor mode still isn't too hard. It's the highest difficulty, and Action Movie mode is extremely easy. The other trophies are all pretty simple. Lost on Mars ended up being a lot worse than everyone expected, and it has all missable trophies. You have to complete it while performing takedowns on the alien arachnids and buy weapons and stuff like that. It's not really a fun DLC. It even has collectibles and stuff, but at least it's easy. Dead Living Zombies is a little bit harder. It has 5 very easy trophies. These first 5 are all very easy and shouldn't cause any problems, just completing it pretty much and making certain decisions. You have to kill 5,000 total enemies, which is just a little bit grindy. Getting the gold medal is a little tough because a few of the gold medal requirements are pretty tough to do, but it's all very easy if you do it in co-op, so I highly recommend doing it in co-op. And finally, this is along the trend of the many dozens of games it seems like that do a New Game Plus trophy. You have to beat the game on New Game Plus in Infamous mode. Infamous mode is pretty hard. You die pretty quickly, but you can, thankfully, bring in the Mars DLC weapons, including the Taser, Spazer, and Annihilation, which makes everything much easier. Rocket League released its final DLCs in 2018. No, it wasn't Champions Club. That was in 2017. And then 1 year later, they released pretty much their last DLC. It seems like Clubs. None of these trophies are particularly hard from what I remember, as long as you boost them. Planet of the Apes: The Last Frontier. This is a 100% choice-based game. All you do the entire game is pick between 1 of 2 decisions. If you follow a guide, it's really easy, but it takes 10 to 15 hours to do. It's a really long one. So it is kind of annoying. You have to do 3 playthroughs that take around 12 total hours, but it's extremely easy. Demetrios did the EU version of it. I've done the North American versions already. You have to collect all the cookies and all the game overs. And then a lot of miscellaneous trophies that are all really easy if you follow a guide. The fun fair is a little bit time consuming. That's the only slightly harder part of the game, but just barely, and it's still pretty easy. So easy enough platinum. NBA 2K18, the Prologue. I think this is the last of the 3 Prologues. I think they only ended up doing 3 of them. This is the easiest one because, as you can see, it was the least time-consuming one because you could skip the cutscenes. It's basically just beat it. There's nothing missable in this one, which is good. Minecraft Vita and PS3. This game, in that last time period, released, I think, 1 DLC. It was the Aquatic Update. The Aquatic Update is really, really easy. You could do it back in the tutorial world. It wasn't a problem on either version. Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens on PS3. I had already done the PS4 version of it. This is your typical Lego game. Just complete the game, get all the mini kits, all the stuff in the story worlds and the hub worlds, all that kind of stuff. Nothing really difficult. It's a very much typical Lego list. Nothing to worry about in it. Just, you know, just typical Lego trophy list. Nothing else to say. The DLCs are all easy. The Phantom Limb is actually a PlayStation exclusive. It's not on the Xbox versions. At least it wasn't. But it's just like any other Lego DLC. With every Lego DLC out there, you just have to complete the level, collect all the mini kits in it, achieve the true stud meter goal, and 2 miscellaneous trophies. And that's all you gotta do. It's just like any other Lego game. Grim Legends 2. Oh, I was an idiot about the NBA Prelude. So it was 2K18 was relatively easy, and 2K19 is the one that's really short and easy, that has no missable trophies that you can skip the cutscenes and stuff on. So my bad about that, guys. Grim Legends 2, typical Artifacts Monday game. Complete all the mini games without skipping. Complete one in under a minute. The hidden object puzzles without using hints. One in less than 30 seconds. Less than 4 mistakes. Collectibles and story-related trophies. Very typical. I want to say that you actually got 2 trophies in this one for finishing the bonus story, which is a little surprising. Her Majesty's Spiffing. This was a pretty decent walking simulator / point and click. I think it was actually a point and click game. Just follow a guide and you'll get the platinum. Nothing too difficult here. Decent enough game. It was one of the more fun ones I played, and it's an hour-long game, which is even better. Battlefield 1, I went back to do the DLC in this game. I had already finished the first DLC. What did I not have done yet? I had finished the second DLC, so it was the third and fourth DLCs that I had not done. Roadkill with a sea vehicle is easy to boost. Service assignment probably will come naturally, but can also be boosted. The Gallipoli operation, you might want to boost this one nowadays with the servers being kind of dead. The L-Class Destroyer isn't too bad, and the Turning Tides weapons. The only one here that's a problem is the Naval Cutlass, because it's really kind of hard to unlock because you have to get objectives in one of the game modes, like while in a vehicle, in a boat. I will say, though, I'm very proud of my progress in Battlefield 1 in that I did every single thing in the game with the exception of the Naval Cutlass and the whatever the mounted machine gun is that you have to destroy 2 planes with. I didn't get that one legitimately either. I had to have someone drop that one for me. So that one I had to have someone drop for me, and the Naval Cutlass I had to boost, but everything else I did 100% legitimately with no boosting, so it was completely possible to do back in 2018. This DLC was actually easier. There wasn't really anything too difficult here, aside from the broken bottle being a little bit hard to get because you had to get kills with the random wine bottles. 36 Fragments of Midnight, EU version of it, nothing difficult here, just complete the game in less than 6 minutes, die in each way possible, and die at certain times. Pretty typical of that game. Albedo Eyes from Outer Space is the EU version. This game is terrible. Please do not play it. It is absolutely horrible. It's as bad as Orc Slayer. It looks terrible. It's not fun to play. At least it's an easy platinum if you follow the guide along with glitchy trophies. The Division. This is one I definitely want to bring up. I had the platinum back in 2016, but I went back and did the DLC. Underground is very easy. It's a 3 out of 10 at most, but it takes time. It takes 30 to 40 hours. The first 2 trophies are very easy, but you have to grind to rank 40, which takes way too long. You have to find collectibles, which can only be done 1 per match, but can come naturally while getting to 40. And this one, for finishing the operation under these specific conditions, you're going to need a group to do it with, but it's easy. Last Stand is typically considered to be the most annoying one. The first 4 trophies are relatively easy. The last one, not so much. You have to win 50 rounds of the game mode. No one's really playing the game now that Division 2 is out, and 50 rounds is a lot to win, given how long these matches take. But I did everything in this legitimately, which I'm very proud of. And finally, there's Survival. The one trophy I'm missing is in Survival. The first 4 trophies are pretty easy. These 4 can come pretty much naturally without a lot of trouble. This one has been giving me significant headache ever since I went for it the first time. 100 items in Survival Dark Zone. I just can't seem to do it no matter how hard I try. And it's going to be even worse now with fewer and fewer people playing the game. So I don't know how or if I'm ever going to get it done because it was just terrible. Inksplosion. This is a Ratalaika game, and this is one of the harder Ratalaika games. At least it was for me. The first few trophies are pretty easy. I want to say it's this 100,000 points in Classic mode that can be tough just because it's really randomized. Or maybe it was the 100 enemies in Arena mode. It was one or the other. Whatever it was, though, I mean, I got the Platinum in a couple of hours, but it still gave me a lot more trouble than I was expecting. This game did end up being problematic, and this is the EU version. I don't know if I'm going to do the other versions. We'll have to see. I got this Platinum right around my birthday. I know I was playing it around my birthday because I was sick on my 23rd birthday because I don't know what it was, but I was sick. This is a light RPG set in the Adventure Time universe. It's a pretty easy Platinum as long as you don't miss any of the few missable trophies, but for the most part, there's nothing really too difficult to worry about here. Just leveling up the characters can be a little bit of a grind, but everything else really isn't too hard. Just take some time and make sure that you're following a guide for it. Super Destronaut, I've done all 3 versions of this that I'm going to do, the North American PS4 and Vita versions, as well as the European PS4 version. Kill an enemy, die once are not a problem. You have to complete 12 of the challenges, of which there's plenty you can choose from. Just do the first 12 as the easiest. 100,000 points in Classic mode and 10,000 in Time Attack are not difficult at all. Neither is 1,000 in Hardcore. This one's unmissable and this one's unmissable, so very quick and easy Platinum. Takes about 20 minutes to do. Slayaway Camp. This is the North American PS4 version. This is a slide puzzle game. It's very random, but it's a slide puzzle game. You will have to grind out 666 kills. This will take a while. It's very grindy, but it's still not really, like, difficult. It's an easy trophy. It just takes time to grind out. Most of the trophies are very easy and will be unlocked almost throughout natural progression. I want to say these gore packs you have to purchase with your points in game, but you can actually save your game to the cloud and reload it after unlocking a few items and then do it again. I want to say that's what you need for something, and then these are all store-related trophies that I'm going through right now. It's these gore packs in particular that are related to these trophies. These are the ones where you can back up your save to the cloud, buy a few, reload your save, and buy the others to avoid it. So I highly suggest doing that. These are the hardest trophies in the game. This Faces of Killed 3. This is basically a little reaction time button pressing game that doesn't work too well, and you have to get a score of 25, which is a little harder than it should be. It's still pretty easy, but it is a little harder than it should be. Call of Duty World War II, went back and played it a little bit. I don't remember exactly which trophies I got. I don't think there were any base game trophies included in this. It looks like I did everything back in 2017. Yep, that's what I did back in 2017. I haven't gone back for the Platinum in this. I need to stop being lazy about that. I just went in and did a few DLC trophies that are easy, like this one's pretty easy. Actually, I did a couple of easy ones here. Yeah, these two are both very easy, so I went ahead and did those, and then did these two as well, because they're all pretty easy. So I went ahead and did a few of the easy trophies. I want to say from what I've read, Shadow War is a fairly easy DLC that's easier than the main game. War Machine and United Front are on par with the main game, and Resistance is by far the hardest of the 4. Jak 2 on PS4, this is the version where you can use the debug mode that has now become quite famous, to where the Platinum obtained in 5 minutes. Very, very quick and easy Platinum, obviously, if you're willing to use the debug mode. AER, this was sort of a flying simulator type game. It's actually pretty decent. I actually liked this one quite a bit more than I expected. Just, you have to complete the game, you have to speak to all of the spirit animals and discover the entire map, and do a few other optional objectives as long as you follow a guide. It should not cause you too much trouble. Just find collectibles, beat the game while following a guide, and you shouldn't really have a problem. It has 3 different versions. I have the EU version, I just haven't played it yet. Ikimu, this is the EU version of this game. I forgot how terrible it was. You have to complete the game. You have to jump on bounce pads and fall into lava and water. You'll rescue these guys as story related. Some of these trophies are really glitchy. I don't remember exactly what you had to do to fix it, aside from maybe just playing through it in a single session is how you can fix it. This is the really glitchy one. That's why it was one of the last things I earned. Some of these others, though, are easier and done sort of toward the end of the game. You have to find all the collectibles, of which there aren't many. There's only a few of the chests and dark shards. A few other story-related trophies, but it's just... This game was not good, and it has a lot of really glitchy trophies, and it doesn't look or play well. It's not fun to play. Would not recommend this one. Batman: The Enemy Within. This was one of the last Telltale games, and it was a really fun one. I actually really liked this Telltale game, despite not being a huge superhero universe fan. But it's a typical Telltale list. Every trophy earned by completing the game. No strings attached, no difficulty, nothing to worry about. Complete the game, you'll get the platinum, no guide needed. Word search by Palgi. This is a Palgi. This was the very first Palgi game. You have to complete every single puzzle in the game. There are a lot of puzzles in this one, so that's why this platinum is 8 to 10 hours. It's easy, but it's very time consuming because of it. There's a few miscellaneous trophies that are not difficult, like highlighting words backwards and stuff like that. None of it's difficult if you follow a guide. It's just very, very time consuming. 8 to 10 hours. On the opposite end of time consuming, we have Jack and Jill DX, the fastest and easiest... Well, no, that's not entirely true anymore, but at the time, it was the fastest and easiest Ratalaika game. All you have to do is complete the first 20 levels, which is the first world. Through here, you have to die once, which should come naturally. You have to play and unlock a mini-game, which should come naturally because you should have enough coins to do it. In which you can earn shop tickets and buy something from the store. Nothing difficult there. And you're going to need 250 coins, which should come naturally. And this one's also unmissable, so it's a very, very quick and easy platinum trophy from the Ratalaika developers. Lego The Incredibles. This is one of the shorter Lego games. It takes around 15 hours to do, so it is one of the shorter Lego games. It's a little bit unique in that you get a trophy for completing each of the story levels and one for a miscellaneous objective in each story level. And there's a few of these that are a little bit difficult. This is the main one, incredible on all raccoon encounters, because it's button mashing that does not work. It's a little bit luck-based as to whether or not the game decides to make it work or not. Not fun. That particular trophy, not fun, but the game is relatively easy overall. I mean, it's a Lego game. You can't complain too much about it. You have to fill the stud meter in every level, all the mini kits, the family builds, which are in the hub world, the red bricks, custom characters, earn studs, 100%, complete all the districts, which is how this one is divided up into, all the races. Pretty typical Lego game. Palm Reading Premium, this is a very easy 100%. You can just button mash through all of it, but I think I actually played this one legitimately just to see what it did, and I still got it in like 30 minutes, so it's not time-consuming or difficult at all. Ventide 2, we have another Artifacts Money game here, so find all the collectibles. There's a number of them. Mini-game trophies, hidden object trophies, a bunch of story-related trophies. This one was a little unique in that you had to play through the game twice because you had these moral decisions throughout the game, and they didn't really make too much of a difference, but you did have to play through the game twice and make different choices. The imps were also missable, but there was no bonus chapter, which is kind of nice. The other two versions of Jack and Jill DX and the other versions of Super Destronaut, there's no difference in them, so I'm not going to go through them. Dead Island Riptide, went back and completed this one on PS3 early in 2019. I did this all the way back in 2013 for the most part. You get a number of story-related trophies here at the beginning, but I had a few trophies glitch on me, and the multiplayer trophies. Finishing all the quests in the game glitched on me. One quest glitch, but it unlocked randomly in the middle of my co-op game playthrough, which was really lucky. Made life a lot easier because I didn't have to go back and do all the side quests on another playthrough. The Secret Files, I think this one can glitch on you, but it didn't on me. Level 70 is pretty easy, shouldn't be anything to worry about. The barricades one is completely missable. I mean, a number of the trophies in the game are missable. If you go past the point of no return, you'd have to start a new game. Complete all the main quests with any number of companions. That is a multiplayer trophy. It was one of the two I was going for. The collectibles, this one is glitched. This was the last trophy I got. One collectible glitched on me sort of later in the game, but upon picking it up, it completed the game, or it completed the trophy and got me the platinum, which is good. This is another collectible type, and then you have various miscellaneous trophies. This game is pretty easy. There's nothing really much to worry about with it as long as you can get through the multiplayer stuff and don't have the trophies glitch on you. That's really the only problem. This is another co-op trophy, but it's pretty easy. X-Men Destiny. This game gave me a lot more trouble than I expected. It was a lot harder than I expected because of one specific trophy. All of these trophies are easy, but the game will require 2 playthroughs no matter what, because you have to complete 1 playthrough joining the X-Men and 1 joining the Brotherhood. And all these trophies will be earned throughout those multiple playthroughs. All throughout here, I think all of these are just multiple playthrough trophies. You have to complete all the bonus objectives and stuff, but that's really about it. Equipping different items, finding different items, nothing really too difficult here. I mean, really, every trophy in the game is easy, although a couple of them do take a little bit of grinding after completing the game, with the exception of completing the game on the highest difficulty. This one gave me ridiculous amounts of trouble on a couple of boss fights. Mainly levels 6 and 8, like the first 5 levels and even the 7th level are easy. The 6th and 8th levels, not so much. Would not recommend playing this game. Spyro the Dragon. I did the Spyro trilogy here. Spyro 1 is the easiest of the 3. Complete the game and find all the collectibles. That is literally the definition of the game. Complete the game, find collectibles, and do a handful of miscellaneous trophies that, for the most part, are not too difficult. I want to say that there's maybe like 1 trophy in this game that gave me some trouble, but for the most part, this is a very easy platinum. It doesn't take too long to do. I mean, it takes a little bit of practice to get through some of the flight levels, and you're probably going to want to look at a collectible guide for all the collectibles. But overall, it's a pretty easy platinum trophy, usually like 1 trophy per level, and it's not too bad overall, and it's a very fun game. Spyro 2 is the hardest in the franchise. Again, you'll get like 1 trophy per level. Some are missable, some are not as missable, but this is the hardest one in the game. I want to say it is one of these gold trophies, like for beating a boss without hitting any fodder. That's pretty tough. I want to say it's this one that gave me a lot of trouble in this game, but I think I ended up maybe getting it through not quite natural progression, but I eventually got it. I don't remember exactly how I got it. It's been, again, a long time since I played this. But for the most part, the game's pretty easy and shouldn't give you too much trouble as long as you have some idea of how to play it. So it looks like I actually did get... Okay, that was the last trophy I got. Okay, that makes more sense. Far Cry New Dawn. This is, you know, I'm probably gonna make a few people unhappy here, but this is one of my favorite Far Cry games. It is up there as one of my all-time favorites. I really, really liked this game. I know a lot of people don't, and a lot of people do, but I actually really liked this one. You have some story-related trophies all through here. You have the different people to join up with. This trophy is actually missable, but it's very hard to miss. Then you have trophies like completing expedition. No, this is the missable trophy. My bad. This one's the missable trophy, the 10 pieces of intel. You have to do a lot of miscellaneous objectives throughout the game that are all, for the most part, very easy. Just find all your companions and stuff, complete some of the side quests, find a few collectibles. Nothing really difficult for the most part. Even the animals aren't too bad. But you do have to complete all the expeditions on the highest difficulty, which is not very difficult, but it's still, I mean, it's a little bit harder than other things. Same thing with the rank 3 outposts. They're still not too difficult, but they take just a little bit of extra time and maybe a little bit more skill. This is your lone co-op trophy in the game. Just complete any 3 expeditions with a co-op partner to get it. Nothing too difficult there. And I wanted to say that the other one was down here, but there are like 3 trophies related to that level 3 difficulty or that rank 3 stuff. But you can play everything on easy, so that sort of negates any difficulty. The Last of Us, I finally went back and did the DLC. I already had Left Behind done because Left Behind is story. But I went back and did all the other DLCs. Now, the first 2 DLCs, these are easy to boost, but this game is not an easy one to boost on, because it's completely random what maps you'll get, and certain maps are more rare than others. I don't remember exactly which ones they were, but basically you have to go in and complete a match on each map without dying and getting at least 3 downs or executions. And you have to complete a map on one of these DLC maps in each game mode. So it's not the easiest thing in the world to boost. It took us forever to get through some of these, like just getting lucky with the maps and stuff. It just took us forever, and we were boosting like there were 8 of us, and it was just taking forever. And it was not a fun experience. And grounded mode was even less fun because grounded mode is hard. Grounded mode is very hard. I was not a fan of grounded mode. Do not ever want to play that again. Spyro 3, this one's in the middle in difficulty. It's not as hard as Spyro 2, but it's not as easy as Spyro 1. Once again, 1 miscellaneous trophy per level and complete the game. You don't have to find all the collectibles in this one. Personality and Psychology Premium. You guys might remember I actually did a full stream of me actually legitimately playing the game and getting slightly uncomfortable with some of the questions. It's very easy because you can just mash X to get through it, but it was an interesting experience. Lego Jurassic World. This is the PS3 version. I've already done the PS4 version. It's a typical Lego game. Complete the game to get a bunch of levels done. Stud meter, mini kits. It's pretty much your typical Lego experience. Not much more to say here. Don't worry too much about it. One Word, this is one of the easiest Palgy games. These only require you to solve a handful of very short puzzles. This one can be done in about half an hour if you follow a guide just by solving certain puzzles. Spider-Man. Spider-Man, this was a very fun game. Was very pleasantly surprised with this for, again, not being a big superhero game fan. It is a little time consuming, not too bad though, like 25 to 35 hours. You have to unlock all the skills and complete all the districts, which will pretty much unlock all of these silver trophies along the way. And a lot of these bronze trophies. It's really, I mean, it's not a difficult game. It's a little bit hard to explain exactly what you have to do, but it's a pretty easy game. Just, beat it and complete it to 100%, and you'll get pretty much all your trophies along the way. As well as a few miscellaneous ones that you'll have to do, but it's a fun, easy platinum that's very worth playing. The Heist Dlc is a story DLC. This one's very easy. Nothing difficult about this one. The game gets slightly harder in Turf Wars and Silver Lining, but the trophies are not any different because it spawns in more of the tougher enemies, but it's still not difficult. New Game Plus, you have to complete it on Ultimate difficulty, but this is not very difficult because you can just speed run the game, just focus on the story. It's not that hard. Nothing much to worry about. Alright guys, I'm actually back again. Had to take another break there because that session of it was getting to be like 50 minutes long and it was getting kind of late and I was getting tired at the time. So let's actually keep going. This is going to end up being a really, really long video. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. You guys like longer videos, especially one that's a big milestone video like this. So the next game I worked on, Watch Dogs 2. I got the Platinum a long time ago and I actually did the Showdown DLC. Oh, I did the Showdown DLC in 2018. I thought I did it earlier than that. But for the DLCs for this game, Showdown I did back in 2018. So Showdown is relatively easy to do if you boost it. Like, it's very easy to do because you can stay with the same people in every game. So it's easy to boost once you find each other. That's the only thing. I actually did it legit, though really, I didn't really do much of it. It was mostly my partner that did everything because he was really good at the game. For the other two DLCs, No Compromise is really quick and easy. This takes about an hour and a half to do. It only requires you to finish the 4 missions for this operation. That's all you have to do. It's very quick and easy. Nothing to worry about with that one. Human Conditions is a little bit harder. Like, these first 3 trophies are very, very easy. Like, these 3 all come pretty quickly and easily without a whole lot of trouble. It's this one that's more of a problem. You have to finish like 9 or 10 specific operations, and you have to sometimes keep replaying them if you're not getting the right ones until this off-the-hook one pops up. And some of these can actually be kind of frustrating. Like, it's just the way the game plays, some of these just don't play all that well and just aren't as fun to do. So I remember not being the biggest fan of this DLC compared to the No Compromise one, but Watch Dogs 2 is still a fun game, and I'm definitely excited for Legion. I don't think it's going to be a day one purchase for me, but I'm definitely going to play it at some point. Tetris Escape, I've actually now done all the versions of it that I would do, so the European version and the 2 North American versions. This is a very, very quick and easy Ratalaika puzzle game. You just have to complete the first 6 worlds by basically, it's a little bit of platforming and a little bit of building stuff. You have to collect half the stars and half the cups. The cups come after getting all the stars in a level. You only have to do this for the first 4 worlds or 4 worlds worth of levels, which is 32 total levels to do 4 worlds worth. This is very, very easy. As long as you're following a guide, you shouldn't have a problem getting the stars, the cups, and completing the levels. You do have to grind out this one by replaying a specific chapter over and over. Same with this one, although this one you really don't have to replay a chapter over and over. You can just run back and forth until it unlocks. This is likely to be one of the last trophies you get in the game. Unmissable, this one is done in World 1. I want to say it's World 1-6 is the easiest place to do it. This one you can do really at any time. It's actually pretty easy to miss, but you can do it in really any level, so it's not a problem. These 2 are both best done in World 6. Those are 2 very easy levels to do them on. Nothing else to worry about there. Blackwood Crossing, I think I had already done the North American version, and this is the EU version. The EU version kind of gave me some trouble because the game felt buggier and one of the trophies glitched on me and didn't unlock. The trophies are all pretty easy as long as you follow a trophy guide. You shouldn't have a problem. These 2 trophies, though, you're going to want to make a backup save midway through the game and just back up your save, make one choice, either set them free or redeem your mistakes. And then after that, reload your save and do the opposite choice. So that way you only have to do 1 playthrough of the game instead of 1.5. But one of the trophies, or one of the items, it was either a trophy or an item, whatever my last trophy was. Let's see if I can find it. 11:16 p.m. It was possibly this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is the trophy that didn't unlock. I'm almost positive that I did it, unless somehow I didn't. But I'm pretty sure I did, so I ended up having to replay over half the game to get it. But the game's easy as long as you follow a guide for it. You shouldn't have too much of a problem. As long as nothing glitches on you or you don't miss anything, it takes around an hour, hour and a half to do. Last Rebellion. This is an interesting game. It's a bit of an RPG type game on the PS3 of all things. The Platinum Trophy is pretty easy, but it's also a pretty quick game. It's a little bit of a weird game with the way you attack. But to get the Platinum, you get all the Silver trophies by completing the game, and the Bronze trophies, all those by just simply completing the game, which is kind of nice. So those are all pretty much unmissable. But then you have the Gold trophies. This, I believe, is the final boss fight. But then you also have these bonus boss fights, pretty much. These are all the sort of extra boss fights, and you have to do 4 of them for each of the 2 characters. The game takes a little bit of grinding for like XP at times, and then you have to sort of understand how it plays. I would highly suggest looking up a guide of how to beat each enemy with the combo system. It's all a little bit hard to describe because it's not really fresh in my mind, but it's really easy if you follow a guide for that part of it, so don't worry too much about it. The game can be a little confusing to navigate as well, but it's still pretty easy overall. Borderlands Game of the Year Edition. I got the Platinum Trophy earlier in 2019. This is the PS4 version of the game. I love the Borderlands franchise. Borderlands 1 is a lot of fun. The Platinum Trophy is pretty easy. In fact, this is probably the easiest Borderlands game. You have to complete all the missions in the game, which isn't really a problem. You have various miscellaneous trophies. You have 5 boss trophies from throughout the game. And then you have other miscellaneous trophies, level up to 50. Well, level 50 isn't right there, it's further down somewhere. But none of that's difficult, especially with all the DLCs and stuff you can do. Then you just have to discover all the locations in the game, reach level 50, and then other miscellaneous trophies. It's a very easy overall game. Just note, though, that this game does have a number of online trophies, or not really online, but just multiplayer trophies. The arena match is multiplayer. The duel is multiplayer. Revive someone is multiplayer. But none of those are difficult. You can do all these with a split screen. You can also do these 2 in split screen with 15 missions in co-op. Any 15 missions, including the easy early game missions, will do. and you have to beat any boss. I would suggest doing it on the very first boss, unless you're just playing through the whole game in co-op, in which all these trophies would come through natural progression anyway. And then this trophy is actually the only one that's changed from the PS3 version. It used to be a viral trophy, but now it simply requires you to play with a party of 3 or more people total, and you can do it with multiple controllers, or you can do it online. I happen to have 3 PS4 controllers, so I was able to do it that way. But everything else, like I said, oh, another dual trophy, I forgot that being a thing. But yeah, this is a very easy platinum trophy. I want to say the Claptraps one is actually missable though, because it is possible to accidentally sell your SDU upgrades, so be careful about that. But this game is a very easy platinum trophy. I would highly recommend playing it. It's a lot of fun. But the 100% is a bit of another story. Zombie Island of Dr. Ned is very, very easy. It takes around 3 to 4 hours to do all the trophies, even grinding out the stuff for the Brains trophy, because the other 4 are story-related. Another thing is, if you import a PS3 save, you can auto-pop some of the trophies or pop them for easier requirements. This DLC, all of them will unlock at the same time if you import a character and play on that character. We'll come back to Mad Moxxi's Underdome because of reasons. Secret Armory of General Knoxx, this is identical to the original version, except for the fact that completing all missions, you still have to beat Crawmerax, and Crawmerax can be a little tough in this game because the glitch doesn't work as well in this game, so highly recommend just doing this one the normal way, where you have to fight him just like you normally would. Just beat him with a group. It's more fun that way. I did it with a random, and we didn't have like any trouble with it. Claptraps Robot Revolution. This DLC is actually easier this time around because I think there's a way to auto-pop these trophies or get them more easily. But also, in this game, bosses don't regenerate their health and like weapons that are on them if you die, meaning that it's much easier to grind these out in the final battle than it was on the PS3 version. So it's a little bit hard to describe, but it's definitely easier than on the PS3 version. Mad Moxxi's is a bit of a different story. This DLC is so terrible. It's one of the worst. It's the worst DLC in the franchise. It's one of the worst DLCs I've ever played, and it's virtually unplayable on the PS4. That's what's so ridiculous about it. Completing the lesser challenges in the 3 Coliseums, that's very easy because they take around 45 minutes apiece. That is not a problem at all. It's these 4 trophies that are the real problem, because the larger challenges last around 3 hours. You have to survive 100 waves in each Coliseum, each of the 3 big Coliseums, and the game is known to constantly crash in the very last few rounds, like in the last 10 to 15 waves. The game is very, very likely to crash. The issue was brought to the attention of the developers. They have been refused to fix it. So I'm either going to have to, I think I'm going to end up send in like a bunch of support requests, like send one in every day with the same complaints and ways they could fix it until they actually either fix it or just auto-pop the trophies for everyone or something like that. I'd be perfectly fine if they wanted to do that, but I'm not afraid to do it legitimately if I have to. But I just want to make sure it's going to be possible to do and that the game won't crash every time, because developers can change trophies. That's not difficult to do. You can change trophies to make them different. Rainbow Six Siege did it for its entire list. Destiny 2's done it numerous times. You can do it that way. Why do they not just do that instead of, fixing the game would make more sense, but it might take longer. You could just make the trophies more possible. I don't get it. Storm Boy, I've done the North American and European versions of it. This is a nice, quick little, easy platinum trophy. All you have to do is just follow a guide through the game. You can do it in about 15 minutes. You basically just have to play all the mini games and do a certain thing in each mini game, as well as complete the story and replay all the mini games. Very quick and easy, nothing difficult whatsoever about this. Would definitely recommend. It's a decent little game. It's a sweet little game. We have another Artifacts Monday game here, Lost Grimoires 2, Shard of Mystery. I'm pretty sure that this is just really your typical Artifacts Monday, nothing really to worry about. You got your typical trophies, your collectibles, complete the game and complete it on Expert with no bonus chapter. So, an easy and short list for an Artifacts Monday game, as is typical. Word Sudoku by Palgi. This is a very easy platinum trophy once again. I've done the North American, European versions of the game. You just have to solve these 50 specific puzzles to get the platinum. As long as you follow a guide, it's very easy. It takes about 2 hours to do, nothing too difficult there. Jazzpunk, this is the EU PS4 version. I mean, it's just EU, NA, and maybe an Asian version. As long as you follow a guide, once again, it's very easy. You just have to do a few trophies on each particular level. It shouldn't be a problem as long as you're following a guide, because most of the trophies are pretty easy doing it that way. If you don't, it can be a little bit harder because some of the trophies are a little bit obscure. But just complete the chapters of the game and do a few miscellaneous activities along the way and you'll get it. Hotel Transylvania 3. I actually ended up deleting the stream for this just because it's a kid's game and I don't want to deal with any COPPA risks or anything, so... And it was not some of my best work. But anyway, you have to complete the game by getting all of these trophies. And then the game is basically a Pikmin clone, and it's terrible. It's not fun to play. Would not really recommend picking this one up because it's terrible. But it is a relatively easy platinum trophy as long as you know how to beat the second boss, which gave me a lot of trouble. You just have to beat the game. You have to collect all the treasures, of which there's only 15. They're not too hard to find. And then you have a bunch of miscellaneous trophies that are all very easy for the most part, just as long as you look at a guide for where to do each of them at. They're not really difficult. It's not a time-consuming platinum either. It's a sub-10-hour platinum. It's just not a fun game. Call of Duty Ghosts. This is the PS3 version of the game. I got the platinum a long, long time ago, back in 2013 when it came out. The only trophies I've earned are the extra XP trophies for each DLC. Now, the nice thing is that all of the challenges just basically auto-popped by playing this game, which is great. Like, all I had to do, I didn't have to go back into each level and shoot the eggs like you normally would. I only had to go in and destroy the hives or complete the first objective on each map to get the trophies to pop, which made things a little bit easier. Those are easy trophies. Those were the only true multiplayer trophies, so they're at least out of the way. Don't know when I'm going to go back to this or the PS4 version, though, because the Extinction mode is tough. Extinction mode is not easy. I want to say that Devastation and Invasion are, like, on par with the main game, while Onslaught and Nemesis are way harder, but I could be wrong. Resident Evil 5, the PS4 version of Resident Evil 5. I got it done to 100%. Did the Platinum back in 2016 without a lot of trouble, because the PS4 version is actually easier than the PS3 version. I've talked about that numerous times. I did Lost in Nightmares a while back. I did Desperate Escape a long time ago. I soloed both of these DLCs on PS4 because they're really not that bad, and I got them both done, so hey, those were done. But then there was just the Versus mode, and the Versus mode is thankfully easy because you can boost it. But I'm not sure it's any less time-consuming on PS4 despite having fewer requirements, just because you can't self-boost the PS4 version like you could the PS3 version. The PS3 version, you can self-boost the Slayers and Survivors trophies with no problem, as long as you have two consoles. You can't self-boost the Team Slayers and Team Survivors, but you can boost them. You can self-boost as long as your partner can also self-boost. Basically, you each have to have two consoles on the PS3 version. PS4 version, you need 2 players for the Slayers and Survivors trophies and 4 total players for the Team Slayers and Team Survivors, but thankfully you only need 15 matches instead of 30. These trophies are all the same. This trophy is the same, and you only need to get 50 physical attack kills, so it's not difficult as long as you boost it. This is probably the hardest trophy of all, just because it is a little trickier to do, but it's not too bad as long as you have some competence on your team to do it. It's not too bad. But hey, that game is done. It's another Resident Evil game done. I'm currently actually working on the PS3 version and have finished the Versus stuff, so all I have left is Desperate Escape. Then I actually did the Secrets of Monkey Island 1 and 2 Special Editions. They are PS3 games. I thought they were Telltale. They are not, so I was wrong on that. But to do this 100%, the first game is actually a little trickier because you'll get a few trophies just for completing the game, and then you have a lot of miscellaneous trophies. The under 3 hours is harder than it probably should be. I ended up having more trouble with this than I thought I would. I mean, I got it first try, but it still ended up being a lot closer than I expected it to be, so I was a little bit nervous about that. I wasn't a big fan of the first one, but the second one was I preferred the second one, and the second one's also noticeably easier because the 3-hour time limit is much more generous. Beating the games without using hints is not a problem as long as you follow a guide, and the other miscellaneous trophies are pretty easy as well. And I just thought the second one was more fun. Enigmatis 3, I've now finished the Enigmatis trilogy. This is one that has a lot of story-related trophies. Expert difficulty and a bonus adventure this time around. The deductions are pretty easy as long as you're following a guide. You shouldn't have too much of a problem with them. You have to collect all the evidence, which should come along the way if you're following a guide. The hidden object puzzles, typical trophies for hidden objects, typical for mini games and collectibles, really just, mostly typical Artifex Mundi. You do, though, have to go in and replay one mini game, which I would actually suggest doing this in the bonus chapter. Just do it in the bonus chapter and play pair matching instead. So do keep that in mind, that could require slightly more than one full playthrough. Sadly, Astrology and Horoscope Premium was not as humorous as Psychology, Personality and Psychology Premium. I actually played it on stream because I was hoping it would be funny, or I think I did. It didn't end up being all that special, but it's a very quick and easy 100%. You can rush through it, but I did it without... Oh, maybe I didn't stream it, I don't know. But it's a very, very easy 100%. Nothing to worry about there. You just really have to spam your way through everything. Full Blast, this is a Ratalaika game. This was one of my personal favorite Ratalaika games. It's sort of a kind of top-down, third-person type shooter game. I've done all 3 versions of it that I will do. You only have to complete the first 3 areas of the game because you'll get the area boss and all the kill-based trophies along the way, as well as the power-up. The bomb attack, you just have to remember to use it, which you should. And the mantas, they're slightly, not really random, but just rarer spawns, but it's still not difficult. Easy platinum that takes around 20 minutes on each version. Effie, this is actually a rare time where I got gifted a copy of a game, which is completely awesome. I got an early copy of it and played it on stream, and then went and got the platinum trophy in it the next, a couple days later. This was a surprisingly fun game. I was pleasantly surprised by this one. You have to complete the game and find all the collectibles, as well as upgrade yourself. There are a number of missable trophies just because of the structure of the game. But it's a pretty easy platinum trophy overall. You just really have to complete every area of the game and find all the relics in it, and that's really all you have to do with a few miscellaneous trophies along the way. Would say that this one is worthwhile if you can get it on a discount sale. Borderlands 2, you might be wondering, didn't I do this game a couple hundred platinums ago? You would be correct. Except that they actually added in a DLC for the game just for the 8th generation versions of the game before Borderlands 3 released, as you can see a couple months before Borderlands 3 released. This DLC is pretty easy. It shouldn't cause you too much trouble. You have, this one is a story-related trophy. I want to say that this is a story-related trophy. And this is a story-related trophy, so I think you get 3 story-related trophies, which is good. This trophy is missable, and actually that is the only... I think this is the only one that's missable, but I could be wrong on that. So this one is missable, but it's easy to do as long as you know it's there. The Effervescent quality gear, this one I highly recommend using the duplication glitch for the weapons, because if you do everything else in the DLC, you should be able to get... all the grenades and the grenade, the shield, and the the grenade, the shield, and the relic or whatever it is, and you should be able to get those just by doing everything else, and you'll get at least one weapon most likely through natural progression, but you probably want to just use a duplication glitch to get through the weapons. This Invincible boss, I soloed him. He's more annoying than he is actually difficult just because he can regenerate health, but he's not too difficult overall. I mean, I did all the trophies in one night in a 3-hour period, so it's not too difficult. Except for that one. I did that one a few days later when I had some time to do it. Black Ops 1, I 100%ed the game after all these years, over a decade. So, I mean, I did all that first strike in 2011. I got the platinum in 2015. The main things I did were the other 3 DLCs. Escalation, I already had some of the trophies done, the easier 3 trophies, but I did not have the Easter egg. This Easter egg is not very hard. You can do it with just 2 players. We got it done on our 2nd try. So it wasn't too bad at all. I don't remember what happened on our first try, or maybe it took 3 tries. I don't know. It took us a few tries, but it wasn't very difficult. We got through it within just a few tries. It's not a bad Easter egg at all. It's not even all that time-consuming. Annihilation, this one's a little more of a problem. I got all the previous trophies before because they're all easy, except for the Easter egg. This Easter egg requires 4 people, and it's very complicated. It's definitely the hardest one in Black Ops 1 that has a trophy to it. But it's really still not that bad if the group knows what they're doing. And really, if you know what you're doing, it's honestly just comes a little more down to dumb luck of getting the napalm zombie and the shrink ray. It only took us 2 tries to get it. The first try we failed because we kept accidentally killing the napalm zombie, and it made it too difficult because it was going on for too long. But it's not as hard as some people will say it is. It's like this DLC is like a 5 out of 10 that takes, 10 to 20 hours. This one is a 4 out of 10 that takes 10 to 20 hours. Moon is a bit of a different issue because, strangely enough, it's not the Easter egg. The Easter egg is actually really, really easy. We did it first try because it's really easy because you don't have to complete the whole thing and it only requires 2 people. Did this trophy a long time ago. Did this trophy a long time ago. It's the other 4 trophies. This one's actually very easy. I was just lazy about doing it and never got around to it. It's really just this trophy and this trophy that are a problem because they both have to do with the excavators. And the excavators are 100% random. There's no telling when they're going to go off and which one's going to go off, and you need very specific scenarios for both of these trophies. So that was the painful thing. It took us absolutely forever to do. This DLC can take more than 20 hours if you keep getting unlucky with the trophies. But we got it, and I'm so happy to have this game done because that's another Call of Duty game 100%ed. I've now 100%ed every Call of Duty game through Modern Warfare 3. So every PS3 one that I own is done except for Black Ops 2, in which I've got the Platinum but not the 100%, and Ghost, which I've got the Platinum, not the 100%. And I want to go back and finish them both eventually, or at least part of them. Hellblade was not a fan of this one. I know that a lot of people love the game for various reasons. I just could not get into it. And you're going to get most of your trophies, all of these trophies, just by completing the game, and it's a fairly short game. You can do it in, 5 or 6 hours. It's the lore stones, and this is what pissed me off more than anything, was because I know I read all of them, but one of them didn't count, and it was all the way in Chapter 10, which was terrible. This game, though, was my first ever live Platinum trophy, so I guess that's a thing. But that killed me because I had to replay the entire game because one didn't count, even though I know for a fact that I read it. So, and I didn't die after it. I guess I just didn't look at it long enough or something really stupid. And like, of all things, you could have just had a chapter select. That's all you needed was if you had a chapter select, I wouldn't have been pissed off at all because I could have just gone back and done it in like 5 minutes easily. But no, we can't be having that. You got to replay the whole game for some reason. Access denied. I've done all 3 of the versions of it that I want to do. This is an easy Ratalaika puzzle game. You just have to finish all 36 levels. You have to skip a level, which you'll do afterward. Spend 3 minutes on one level. Should come naturally. This one should come naturally on the matching level. Replay a level and complete it again. Very easy. Just replay the first level. And then a short circuit. This is the only sort of slightly more out there miscellaneous trophy, but there's easy places to do it. What Remains of Edith Finch. This is a 100% game. It's actually a pretty solid one. It is a walking simulator. But as long as you follow a guide, you won't have any problem doing it. It's very quick and easy 100%. It only takes... so I got the last trophy at 10:48 p.m. or 10:49 p.m. or actually 10:55 p.m. and got the other ones at 9 o'clock something. So it's like, it's a 2-hour 100%. And it's a good game. So I'd say to pick that one up. I think I got it because it was PS Plus. One-Eyed Kutka. This is a really weird game that I don't really know how to describe, but it's an easy 30-minute 100%. Actually, I think it's even less than 30 minutes to do. So it's a very easy 100% as long as you follow a guide, but it takes around 30 minutes. It's just a weird game. It's kind of hard to describe. I don't know if I'm going to do the European version of it. Fallout 76, the game that ruined the Fallout franchise and killed Bethesda's name more than anything else. The good thing is the Platinum Trophy is not all that hard. The bad thing is it's time consuming and it still has one painful trophy that I have yet to get around to. You get all these trophies here for completing the main story and some side quests. Officer on Deck is one of the last of those missions, and the last story-related trophy is at the bottom of the list. It did the way Fallout 4 did. Building a camp is unmissable. Building camp items is basically unmissable. These are various side quests and events that are all very easy. This right here, oh, and that's another one. This one right here is the hardest trophy in the game. You have to, despite the fact that it's not as rare as some of the others. Scorched Earth is hard because it's very buggy. There's the possibility that the Scorched Queen will just glitch out or that the game will break while you spawn her because it's too much for the game to handle at once. Plus, it's hard to even activate the event because you have to nuke a specific place, which takes time and effort. I need to go ahead and do this in 2020 because I don't feel like the servers are going to be up for more than a couple more years for this game. I feel like Bethesda's just going to abandon it at some point. Then we have a multiplayer trophy, join 20 teams. It has to be in 20 separate lobbies. You can't do it in the same lobby over and over again. I tested that and it doesn't work. But separate lobbies, it is very easy to do. Craft weapons and armor. Reach level 100. I'm literally halfway through level 99. Just wait for double XP events, and you can farm XP really, really quickly by doing things like Monster Mash and stuff. I just need to go back and do that. It's very easy from where I am right now. Read magazines is pretty easy. Ground zero of a nuclear blast should come overall, like if you just hang around White Springs or something. I mean, the trophies overall are pretty easy despite there being a few multiplayer trophies. And because you can boost all the multiplayer trophies. Just the one hard thing about it is reaching level 100, grinding to level 100, and the Scorch Beast Queen. That's it. Waking Violet, wasn't a fan of this one. It's just, you have to basically complete the game and do some miscellaneous tasks. I don't really want to talk about this one because I really didn't find it to be fun at all, and I found it to be extremely buggy and have weird controls and stuff. Was not a fan. Drowning, this was a surprisingly decent little mental health based game, and I would definitely recommend playing this one. It's a very quick and easy platinum trophy as well that takes around 30 minutes to do. Got that one of those first trophies at around 6:17 and then 6:50, so it's around a 30 to 40 minute platinum. Actually, you can do it faster than that if you really try to. You have to complete the game's 4 different endings. For those first few trophies, you get this trophy just by starting up the game, so apparently 0.4% of people never got past the loading screen, but have the game on their account somehow. And then miscellaneous trophies from each year, including collectibles that are all very easy as long as you follow a guide. This game has 4 versions, 2 North American, PS4 and PS Vita, and then 2 for EU. Daggerhood, this is a Ratalaika game. This is one that I really didn't like, but you only have to complete 12 levels and collect the fairies and treasures on 10 of them, as well as the stars. You're going to have to replay each level multiple times to get all these trophies because they have to do with speed and precision separately. It's not too bad, I just wasn't a big fan of it. It takes less than an hour though, so it's not too bad. Long Reach, already talked about that previously, but this was the EU version of it. The Lego Movie 2, this is probably one of, if not the fastest and easiest console Lego game. I don't know if it's quite as easy as Lego Movie 1 or as quick as it, but it's a pretty easy platinum trophy. So you just have to complete the game and find all the masterpieces on each area, which are the replacement for gold bricks. So nothing really to worry about there. Just complete all of that and you'll get all the trophies as well as the side worlds. So you have to do the main worlds and the side worlds. Just complete each of them and find all the masterpieces, which again is basically the gold bricks to get all these trophies. You get all the characters as well through natural progression, which is kind of nice. So those are unmissable. Everything else, though, requires you to do a few other specific tasks, and there are, like, a loot box system in this game, though you don't pay for them or anything, but you have to use it to get all the gold characters and stuff like that, so it's just kind of weird. It didn't make a lot of sense. You have to build buildings in Syspocalypse Star and do side missions there. That's the only one that's a little bit different because it allows you to freely build stuff. This one's pretty much unmissable. Really, a lot of these trophies are unmissable, but you do have to be a little bit more careful with Syspocalypse Star, and the game is just a little bit different from a normal one, just because it plays vastly differently. Another version of Drowning, not going to talk about that again. Uncharted 2, I got the 100%. That was a loud noise in the background. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Uncharted 2 got the 100% despite getting the platinum in 2015. This game was not particularly hard to 100% because you can boost all of it, but you do need a full lobby of 12 people to boost it. Now, it's easier if you have multiple people that have multiple consoles, but just with how bad the servers are and janky they are and how easy it is to get accidentally kicked, it took forever to get these trophies done. Like here, Stealth Kills done on 6/11, and some of these others we didn't get done until like mid to late July, which is ridiculous. So this was just, it was not a good experience. Like, okay, let me rephrase that. It was fun boosting with the group on Discord. We had some good laughs and funny moments with the game, but it was a nightmare to coordinate and it was a nightmare to play, even though we were having fun talking and stuff. Like, the stealth kills are really buggy, the melee kills are really easy, the barbecue medals are easy. You can do some of these sort of in the same matches together to try to speed them up. The tripled medals are a little time-consuming, but not too difficult. We'll talk about co-op in a minute. You have to finish Wave 10 in Survival, Gold Rush, and Siege, but none of those are difficult because you can do them on the easiest difficulty. Winning 50 games in each of these game modes takes absolutely forever just because you can't speed them up all that much, even if you're boosting all the other kills and stuff along the way. It just takes absolutely forever to do anything. The captured medals, I'm pretty sure, for objective modes, and then the 2,500 kills is the last trophy you will most likely get along with the deathmatch wins, just because 2,500 is a lot of kills. And you just have to boost it. I mean, you can't get more than like 30 to 40 in a game, and you just have to boost it, and it's terrible. It was terrible. I mean, again, I can't reiterate how terrible it was. And then you had the Siege expansion pack. We'll talk about co-op again in a second. Siege game, I talked about that. The first medals, those... I think this one had easier medals, though. Like, first is easy, defender's easy, afterlife's easy, shut 'em down's easy, triple threat isn't too bad. Retaliation is easy, put 'em down's easy, tricky's easy. Protectorate is really stupidly complicated, but it's easy if you boost it. Then you have to also finish all 3 co-op maps twice, once on hard and once on crushing, or an extra time before that on normal to unlock them on hard so that you can then unlock them on crushing. The hard difficulty maps are not too bad. Crushing is a little more frustrating, but there's only 3 maps and they aren't too bad overall. You just need to get a lucky run and you'll eventually beat them. They aren't, it's not the worst thing in the world. You know, it's not the worst thing in the world. You can get through it. We did it within just a few days of attempts and we got through it. So I'm very proud to have Uncharted 2 done. I have nearly every Uncharted game 100%. The only ones I don't have done are Uncharted 3, which we'll talk about in a minute, and Uncharted 4, which is at least still doable. Zero Time Dilemma, this is a visual novel / escape room game. To get the platinum, you just have to complete all the quests and find all the collectibles and complete all of the, basically, endings by doing all the fragments in the game. So as long as you follow a guide, this is very, very easy and shouldn't give you any problem. It takes around 6 to 8 hours. Nothing else really to say about that. Chaos on Deponia, second Deponia game. This one's easy, aside from the fact that you have to watch a lot of the cutscenes. And you also have, well, actually, I want to say that there's like a melee battle that you have to do against Gal or Gall or whatever her name is that's really annoying, just the way it's designed. And then the way that the pinup poster is done is really buggy and can really screw you over easily. Like, I had it glitch me out somehow. I don't even remember. I don't really care to remember because I hated this one, or just that aspect of it, at least, the collectibles. The game's not terrible, but I just wasn't a huge fan of this one. I liked the first one better. But this one actually has a North American and a European version, and I own the European version, so yay, I get to go back and do that at some point. Fantastic. Paw Patrol on a roll. Yeah, I played this. And you know what? I'm not ashamed of it because look at the rarity of some of these trophies. 10%. That's actually pretty rare. 4%. 1%. There's some somewhat rare trophies in this thing, so I don't blame myself for playing it because sadly it's actually not that bad of a game. I'm going to say that now. It's actually nowhere near the worst kids game I've played. You'll get all these trophies by completing the game, and you have to collect the 5 golden paw prints in each level to get these trophies, as well as every single pup treat. None of this is difficult. I only ended up having to replay one level where I messed up, but everything is very easy. But yeah, it's got some rare trophies to it, even on PSN profiles, so I am not ashamed of it. I did Hannah Montana. I'm not ashamed of this. Actually, I did the trifecta of shame. I did Hannah Montana, Barbie, and Monster High, so yeah. Take that as you will. Black Ops 3. I don't remember specifically which trophies I got. Actually, I'm pretty sure I know which ones I got, but I gotta scroll through to make sure. So I'm pretty sure that the only trophy I got in the base game during this time period would have been the multiplayer trophy for prestiging. Yep, there it is. Reach level 55. So not really prestiging, just reaching level 55. It just takes grinding. It's boring, it's not fun. I don't like Black Ops 3, I don't like the futuristic crap, but it's at least easy. I'd suggest getting it done sooner rather than later because it is a multiplayer trophy. But I also got a few trophies in other DLCs since the last one of these update videos. I think I had already done Awakening because I was doing that with someone else and got a few miscellaneous trophies in it. This game has a horrible trophy delay the way that Modern Warfare Remastered does, or Modern Warfare 2019 does. Eclipse, these 2 trophies I actually got on stream over the summer because I was just playing with someone randomly and they helped me grab a few easy trophies on a stream, which was fun. I'm thankful for that. Descent, haven't done anything yet. Thankfully, they have actually fixed this trophy, so it's possible now. So this 100% is still 100% obtainable. It's terrible, it takes a really long time, but it is still obtainable. I did these a long time ago with a friend, and then Zombies Chronicles I think is the same way, yep. So more to do in this game. I don't know when I'm going to go back to it eventually, but not looking forward to it. We're just going to say that. The Moose Man was not a fan of this one either because it has some weird aspects to it and some kind of buggy collectibles, but it's basically just complete the game and find all the collectibles and you'll get the platinum. Thankfully, the game does have a very generous chapter select. If you do miss anything, you're only going to get set back a few minutes to do it. Suicide Guy, or Suicide Guy Sleeping Deeply, the second Suicide Guy game. This game is very easy. It takes 1 to 2 hours to get it. As you can see here, it took me like an hour and a half to do it. So an hour and a half, 2 hours to get it. Complete the game will get you these first you have to complete the game and find all the statues in it, 1 in each level. There's a few miscellaneous trophies per level, like this is level 1, this is level, I think, 3, this is level 4, this is maybe level 6, and level 6, and level 4, I don't remember exactly because it's been a while since I've done them, but it's a very, very easy platinum trophy. The controls are bad on the platforming level, but everything else is pretty easy as long as you follow a guide. God of War, finally got around to playing this masterpiece, and it is just as good as people say it is. It was a lot of fun to play, but it took me over like a month and a half to get the platinum. You'll get all these trophies by completing the game, and then these 2 from exploring. Then you have all your collectible-based stuff and miscellaneous trophies, and for the most part, the platinum is pretty easy. You just have to find a lot of collectibles, just complete every area. You can follow a guide for each area on how to do it. It's not a difficult platinum for the most part. Most of these trophies are pretty easy, and the game is a lot of fun to play. The treasure maps, I think, might have been the last trophy I got just because I wanted to save it for last, and it was an easy one to save for last because they're slightly more time-consuming collectible. It takes like 30 to 40 hours to get the platinum, so it's a little bit time-consuming, but it's at least a fun game to play. These last 3 trophies are the only ones that might cause some trouble. The trials really are not that bad as long as you're playing on easy. There was only like 1 trial that I had to do more than twice to finish it. It was like the very first super hard trial. All the treasure from the Workshop Center Chamber, this is easy. It's just time consuming because you have to grind out stuff in the fog area. And then the Valkyries. The first 8 Valkyries are not too bad, actually. I got through every one of them within 2 to 3 tries once I learned, how they attack and stuff. The last Valkyrie, the Queen, is another story. That one took me about 10 tries and gave me quite a bit of frustration, but I got through it. It's not the worst thing in the world, especially because you can play on easy. I bet it would be even easier if you played it on New Game Plus. The Lego Ninjago movie, this is a fairly typical Lego game. Just complete the game, find all the collectibles, you're going to get the platinum that way. Not too difficult. Wasn't a huge fan of this one, but at least it's one of the shorter ones. It only takes around 20 hours, so it's shorter for a console Lego game. It also has a weird, battle arena mode, which was kind of surprising that they would have that, sort of a multiplayer mode. Uncharted 3, I sadly did not finish the 100% in this because I just ran out of time. If I'd had maybe another month, I would have been able to get it done, but I kind of knew from the beginning I wasn't going to get this one done and wanted to focus more on finishing Uncharted 2 because I knew I could finish Uncharted 2. And because the boosting group abandoned the idea of doing Uncharted 3 with how long 2 was taking, so that was part of the problem, was we just abandoned it outright. So I got this trophy for Plunder. That one's very easy. The elimination's fairly quick. You have the co-op trophies are actually pretty difficult in this game. Return to Sender is easy. That has something to do with grenades. Curator is insanely hard. Retaliation is easy. Expansionist is easy. Just didn't have time to finish it. In Your Face and Fist Cuffs are both easy as well. So a lot of the trophies are easy if you boost them, at least. Triple Threat, same thing. Team Objective are very long matches. The treasure sets are the other absurdly long trophy in the game. Now the thing is, there are still a few trophies that I can obtain in offline co-op. I think you could still technically do this one, though I'm not going to even try to, as well as this one, but I'm not even going to try to do those. And Curator, same thing, but you'd have to be able to do them in split screen with only 2 people, and I just don't see that happening. You can't still finish the treasure sets, but like this is one that I know you can still do because it's one of the slightly easier ones of those. The objective points, that one's easy, just didn't have time to finish it. Again, like I just ran out of time. Gatekeeper and Hang In There I think can also still be done in offline, so I might still be able to get those done, because I'm going to go back and do the ones I can still do eventually. Co-op Arena Crushing, I want to say that this is one of the hardest DLCs because of like this, and 3-team deathmatch is annoying to boost, and another treasure set, but a lot of the trophies are still fairly easy, and I think that, I don't think I can get Power Killer, but I think I can get If It Bleeds in Soft Spot, so I can get more trophies in that. Shades is another pain. No, Shades is the really bad DLC because it's got Curator on Crushing and Unyielding on Crushing, even though it doesn't have a treasure set. Plunder also takes absolutely forever, and co-op on Hard without losing a life. The Shades trophies are easy, but they're time-consuming. Executioner, I think, can still be done, and None Shall Pass can't still be done. That's for online. The 3 end boss is one that's super hard. The 50 matches of TDM was fairly easy. I mean, we boosted that one all the way through. Hang In There is a little tough. This one maybe would still be possible. Some of these hard difficulty ones might still be possible. Assassin was painful because it's stealth-based, and 3 Metal Pickup and Commando were easy, though. Double Down's easy. Headcracker's easy. Unyielding on Hard. I mean, there's a few trophies left I might be able to get, but, I mean, I'd love to see it get to 75, even 80%. I just don't know if it's ever going to get there. I mean, we'll have to see. I just, again, ran out of time. That's all I can say about it. I ran out of time. It's a time-consuming 100%, even when boosted, as well as some skill-based stuff, and I just ran out of time. That's all I can say about it. Just Cause 4. This game, I think I got the platinum around 349, around the same time I got Destiny 2. The Platinum is not very hard. In fact, it is a 3 out of 10, and it is the easiest game in the Just Cause franchise. It is relatively easy overall. You just basically have to 100% the game to get it. So complete the story, reach the maximum Army of Chaos level, which is going to require some grinding, secure every region, complete all the feats, unlock all the grappling hook mods, complete some side quests, find all the collectibles. The only problem is really finding every location in the game, and there's a gold trophy up here for finding all of them. That's the hardest trophy in the game because there's no definitive, like, the game doesn't show them to you. You have to look up a map of it and try to find all of them. It's annoying and it takes time, but at least it's easy. That's the good thing, is it's easy. The challenges, meanwhile, are also pretty easy, but there's just a lot of them, these stunts. They're easy, there's just an absurd number of them, over 400, which is terrible. The cow gun one, you might want to get this one done early because it's not necessarily missable, but it gets much harder later in the game. And then a lot of other miscellaneous trophies, but overall it's an easy platinum, although this one is a multiplayer trophy, so you do have to, I would say, get this one out of the way early. Then there's the DLC. The DLC is Daredevils of Destruction. It's a 3 out of 10 that takes like 5 to 7 hours. You just have to get an S rank on every trial to get most of the trophies. You also have to find these collectibles, which are easy with the guide. And this 25 vehicles in a single challenge. I don't remember how I got it, but it's pretty easy. I know I didn't have any trouble with it. And I have guides up for how to get an S ranking on every trial. I actually have a series of guides up on YouTube for it. There's 14 of them. Los Demonios, this is the hardest of the 3 DLCs just because of the way it's structured, and it's just not fun. The Artifact is a story quest, and Extermination is the final story quest, and then you just have to purge all the infestations. So the trophies are very simple, and I don't think this one's missable either because you can get it after the game's over, because you can drop the demon eggs in and then use the cow gun on them, so thankfully I don't think it's missable. But otherwise, you just have to complete it. It's not difficult. It only takes around 4 hours, but it is more difficult than the other DLCs, mostly because the final boss is kind of a prick. I'd suggest hiding way out of range and using a high-powered weapon or the DLC wingsuits to do it. And finally, Danger Rising. This was a solid end to the game. This was the most fun of the 3 DLCs. Its trophies are also around a 3 out of 10 that takes around 5 hours. Most of the trophies are easy once you know how to do them. Except for the agency hoverboard courses being, there's 7 of them. I do have guides up for them, but a few of these are very annoying. A few of these are actually pretty difficult. Then I did my sort of 6 quick platinums in a row right here with additional versions of Full Blast, Word Sudoku, and One Word. I've already talked about all these games, so I'm not going to talk about them again. And before we talk about 400, I think I got some Borderlands 3 trophies before I got the Platinum for Red Dead, or maybe I didn't. No, I actually didn't. Wow, okay, I'm an idiot, so that's not actually what happened there. But I do know that Destiny 2 I've been steadily working on. I will just bring this up because I've been slowly working on both the Forsaken DLC, and I got Destiny 2 done as my 350th Platinum. Most of the trophies in this game are extremely easy. Just, you know, beat the game, level up, complete some side quests. It's very easy. Although I'm not really sure how you do the Flashpoint trophy anymore, as I don't really know how to do it anymore. This game has changed absurdly over the years to where every trophy is different now, and it's just weird. This trophy used to be really, really hard. Now you only have to talk to Xur to get it. I feel cheated. This trophy was also easier at first, and I did it the hard way, because it was easier when you could just complete a Nightfall on Prestige mode instead of having to do just the raid. But the raid is still not really that bad. Like, me and some other people got them both done in one night, both versions of it in one night. It's not that hard, it's just kind of finicky because it's a terrible raid. The Forsaken trophies, these trophies are easy. The Collections badge is grindy, but it's still pretty easy. Dreaming City is story, as is this one. Those are both basically story-related. Gambit's easy, Forsaken Exotic's easy. Forsaken Nightfall, just waiting on that one. I've been slowly working on it. The Last Wish raid is not particularly hard. I just need to get around to doing it. And the Triumph Seal is horribly painful. Slowly sort of working on it, but I don't know when it's ever going to get done. And then Minecraft PS4. I want to bring this one up as well because I'm sure it had DLC during that time period. Yeah, it had multiple DLCs in that time period. God, it had like a bunch of DLCs in that time period. I think that this one was already done, but Pack 7, the Aquatic update, this one's extremely easy. It takes 2 hours to do. Nothing difficult here. Moving on. I have a guide up for it on PSN profiles. It's easy. Expansion 8, this one's a little more annoying. This one the Panda one gave me some trouble. I ended up having to do it in someone else's world just because I couldn't get it to work in mine. 9, this one was relatively easy, except for the Sail the Seven Seas, which I think has actually been patched now, thankfully, and the Cats one is really time-consuming. Expansion 10 is extremely easy. This is the Pillager update. Nothing difficult here. It only takes a couple hours. No problems here. I'm currently working on expansions 11 and 12, but those will come up in the next update, like this, you know, another 100 Platinums from now. Finally, since we are really running out of time, because this video is going to be going on like 2 hours long at this point, unless I edit it out more than I thought, Red Dead 2, Platinum number 400. I loved this game. The single player especially was awesome. The multiplayer, not so much, but it's a great game, at least for the single player. Completing the story will unlock all of those trophies. The optional honor story missions, there's 28 of them, or it was either 26 or 28 of them, and this is technically missable, but I think there's an exploit to get around it if you do miss one of them, because it's the only really bad missable trophy, because the others are all really easy to get if you do miss them. 100% completion, extremely time-consuming. There's so much you have to do, but it's not overly difficult aside from a couple of the challenges. The 70 gold medals, this is the hardest trophy in the game, but it's much easier. I would highly suggest make a save before every mission, and if you don't get the gold medal, reload your save until you do on all of the easier to get missions, because it is not worth doing through replay. I learned my lesson. Do not do it on replay. You will be sorry because it is much, much harder. Companion activity in each camp, this one's missable, but it's very easy. Minigames is unmissable while going for 100%. The homesteads, this one is both buggy and possibly missable, so I'd be a little wary of this one. I'm not entirely sure if it's still missable, but it might be. This is a side quest. This is pretty unmissable. This is extremely easy. It is missable, but it's one of the easiest trophies in the game. Just donate money to the gang tipping box. Pretty much unmissable while buying everything at 100%. Pretty much unmissable. Pretty much unmissable. Time-consuming and grindy, but not overly difficult as long as you're ready to deal with the bounty hunters, and you can get your bounty up in Amberino. That's the only hard part. Collectible strands, easy while going for 100%. 100%. Companion item request. This one's a little bit tougher, but it's still pretty easy. It is missable, though, if you do it, if you don't get it by the time you finish all the camps and stuff. Permanent home for the squirrel statue can't be done until very late in the game after you do the hunting requests, and it is... The squirrel statue part's easy because you can follow a guide. It's getting to that point that's hard. Crafting is easy. Then you have to skin and study every applicable animal. There's over 100 of them. There's like 160 of them that you actually have to study, and it's absurd because there's so many, and it takes absolutely forever because they're random spawns. The fishing one's easy. The upgrading weapons is easy. The bear attacks is the last one I got. It's just time-consuming. The horse bonding is extremely easy. The online trophies in this game are thankfully very easy by Rockstar standards. It's one of the easiest online... It is the easiest online list for any Rockstar game out there because complete the intro as a tutorial, finish a series that's just finished like one event in it, easy. 10 free roam missions, no difficulty there. 5 free roam events, not difficult. The gold belt buckles have actually gotten easier because they've added more and more in that are very easy to do. No problems there. MVP 3 times is much easier in this game because they don't have to be done in a row. You just have to do 3 total, which you should get naturally while going for level 50, and there's probably a way to boost it as well if you're really terrible at it. Own 5 horses, time-consuming, but easy, just expensive. Reach rank 50, extremely time-consuming, but still easy because there's ways to grind XP. I mean, that's all you gotta do, grind XP. That's really all you gotta do. This one, I ended up boosting it because I just wasn't having any luck finding Rival Posse free roam missions, but it's still not too difficult. Purchase flags for this one to do it the easiest way. You have to buy a pamphlet, which you can't do until level 22 for this one. Persistent Posse costs $200. I feel like a lot of the trophies in this were meant to steer you toward microtransactions. And then craft items, sell items, pick herbs, and complete a mission in a group. So this one actually does require multiple people. So with that, at this point, I know that I've put off on this video for a while just because I was busy, then I got sick, then I got busy again, and just didn't have time to do it. But with that, level 70, 49%, 17,440 total trophies. I hit 17,000 in my last, like, 5 platinums before 400, so I've gotten about 400 trophies since. 411 platinums right now, 2,348 golds, 4,495 silvers, 10,186 bronzes. I really hope you guys enjoyed this long video. It took me a few sessions to record because I kept getting interrupted and stuff, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this very long video. This is going to be like one of the longest videos on the channel that isn't a stream. But hope you guys enjoyed it, and here's an imaginary cheers holding up an imaginary glass to another 100 platinums. So, I will see you guys then.